Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first official Almost April podcast. Today we're talking all things Bethpage Black. I am James. He is John.
How's it going, everybody?
All right, let's get into it. I guess the first thing, I want to kind of talk about the history of Bethpage and the course itself. I feel like Ryder Cup content in general has been shoved down our throat, but it's all been about players.
Yeah, it's very player heavy, very team heavy.
Yeah, you don't actually I haven't heard really much about the course, honestly. And to be frank, I didn't know much about Bethpage at all, entering this. We live in Georgia, so it's in the South, so we don't really, Bethpage isn't a staple of golf for us. So I didn't really know, what did you know anything about the course besides?
I mean, I just know that it's before this, I knew it was an incredibly hard course, a great U.S. Open venue, and one of the best munis in America, but that's really it. I mean, you can kind of go back and look at all of the past major championships, and they all kind of have the same feel when they're at Bethpage.
Yeah.
You have great atmosphere. You have an extremely hard golf course, and it's just a big ballpark in general.
Yeah.
Is the thing that I think of the most before going into this. Now, after doing my research and kind of analyzing the course and analyzing or trying to predict how they're going to play, I have a different thought process through it. But
okay.
I'll put a pin in that and go back to you for that your whole spiel.
I want to go through I had an idea of basically us doing the history of Bethpage, just because I have a podcast idea for us later on. You guys really liked the polls section of the pod or of the stories I used to post. We'll still do post for which would you rather play. So I kind of wanted to do podcasts strictly on the history of a course, not going in depth of the routing and the land that it's on, but actually the history of a certain course. So that's kind of where I want to start off with Bethpage today. And then we're going to get into the Ryder Cup, how it's playing, what's expected, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing is Long Island. John, I think this might be the best stretch of 50 miles of golf in the world. The course is on Long Island, Shinnecock, National Golf Links of America, Friars Head. Sleepy Hollow is kind of above it.
That's the best logo in golf.
Yeah, it is the best logo in golf. Maidstone and then Seabnack.
Wow.
Just an incredible, and that's all on Long Island, right there. Again, Friars Head, or no, Sleepy Hollow, a little bit north, but still. So, I don't know, it didn't really occur to me until I was doing research, why is that such a great spot for golf? And if you think about it, it's it's the perfect land. It's sandhill dunes, rolling hills. It's just great topography for awesome golf courses, which is why we see those, what is that? What did I just name? 7 top 100 golf courses?
Yeah.
Within 50 miles. So, yeah. Anyways, I did not think about that until, when I think of Long Island, I think of tiny houses with chain link fence, in New York, but you're not in Manhattan, it's not great. And then if you go to Montauk and Hamptons, it's super ritzy, and you don't really think
golf at all.
I mean, and then when you dive into it, it's whoa, that is actually the best place to play golf maybe in America. They just had, did you see what was going, I forget what the burner was. One of the golf burners, some person posted, if you had infinite amount of money to go travel in the United States, and they broke it into a bunch of slices, it was where would you go? And then the burner quote tweeted that and said, and I wish I knew the burner, I'd give him a shout out. The burner quote tweeted it and said, if you had to play golf with infinite amount of money and you could play wherever, where would you go? And option C had Long Island and then Philly, which again, Philly is the probably the second best,
a lot
area
of great golf courses in Philadelphia.
And it's that is no brainer. That section is for sure the best to play. So anyways, but yeah, New York, Long Island, elite golf. And it makes sense when you think about the build. All right, now we're going to munis and majors. And I have to say, Bethpage Black, the cult following that this had from our followers was outrageous. I posted a story. I forget who Bethpage knocked off in the bracket, but
it was Royal Melbourne.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was one of those ones where, and now I might walk it back a little bit after doing research on the pod, but people came at me you have this totally wrong, because I thought it was ridiculous. Bethpage knocked it off. I said, you have this totally wrong. You don't know ball, all this stuff, and it has just a cult following unlike any other course. If I did that I think I did it for another story. Oh no, it's because they knocked off National Golf Links of America too. So I did 2 stories of it back to back. And dude, I might have got 50 DMs that were calling me an idiot, all this stuff, which I also got 50 DMs saying like, yes, you're right on that. But it's just crazy. Like, I think there is a cult following around it because it's a municipal course, because everyone can play it, because it's elite, but there is accessibility of it. And it's the staple of, I don't know, like public golf.
It's also a staple of New York golf.
Yeah.
Like a lot of New Yorkers, let's face it, aren't members at those 6 courses that you just mentioned. Like they can't play those courses. But what they can do is they can go up to the Bethpage State Park and play all those courses, and they're all very good courses, and they're all relatively inexpensive for a New Yorker. So it's got this like, how like there's some things in New York where it's like, this is New York, like they're proud of it.
Yeah.
This is one of those classic examples of like we're proud. We love this golf course. We're proud of it. We're gonna make it known, and I think that's what makes it cool and like kind of like a cult following is like that entire region like loves this area and loves this golf course.
And I think another thing too is I don't know. Again, I don't live in New York. My sister did. My sister-in-law lives there now. Like from what I can understand, like it's hard to golf in New York. It really is.
It's a all day thing.
Yeah.
You have to.
So like if
you live in Manhattan, you have to take, I think it's 3 trains and then
to get the Bethpage.
To get to Bethpage. So that's a lot of that's not just rolling in where we live in Georgia. Like you can literally go 3 minutes down the road and go play golf course.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot harder.
Well, to like get back to like the whole like Muni thing, it's like I think that's just the staple of why fans love it, because it was the first municipal course truly to host a major since like the 1940s. Like they went on a run where it was like, in the 20s or whatever, where there's public golf course obviously. And then they didn't there was not a major hosted at a true municipal course since 2020 or 2002, excuse me, when they went back to Bethpage. So I have a trivia question for you.
All right.
What courses have hosted majors? How many can you name that you right now, if you had infinite funds, could go play? Do you know the courses? I'll give you and I'm not talking about European. I don't know about like,
Talking about like municipal courses?
Well, or resort is what the other category is. But it's like you can go play these courses right now if you book a year in advance. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 courses by my counts that have hosted the major that you can go play.
In all time, like not the modern era.
Since I think I went back to 1985. Sorry.
So redo this and specify it for me.
Okay. Courses that you can play right now that are either resort style or municipal since 1985 that have hosted the major.
Okay. Pinehurst.
Yeah.
Bethpage. Whistling Straits. Torrey Pines. Chambers Bay.
Yeah. I thought you were going to get tripped up on that one.
No, that because that's kind of recent. We keep on thinking.
No, that was impressive. I did not think
5. I got 8, 3 more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 3 more. I'll tell you when you hit them all. I'm scanning it. I'll give you a hint. You see one every
Pinehurst.
You already said that.
Oh, I already said Pinehurst.
You see one every year on tour. You're not thinking of it.
Oh, Pebble Beach.
Yeah. And then the other 2, I don't think there's another one you see every year on tour, but this is they hosted the major way back before you were born, so you're not going to remember this. And John's 32, so it was it was in the 80s. I'll tell you that.
Colonial?
One. No, it was PGA National. And then there's 2 that you should get, but
go ahead and tell me. I got 5.
Yeah, you did pretty good. It was the Ocean Course.
Oh, Kiowa. Fuck, that was an easy one.
Yeah, and then Erin Hills.
That was an easy one too.
I
should have gone 7 or 8. I wouldn't have gotten PGA National, but
so out
Erin
of
Hills and Ocean Course, that I should have known.
So out of those, the ones that are true munis, okay, the only ones off that entire list that are true munis are Bethpage and Torrey Pines. That's it. So again, I think that shows the mystique, which is crazy that Torrey gets all this hate. Like Bethpage, I mean, it also shows how good of a course it is. But Torrey in the golf world gets so much hate to where Bethpage gets lifted up. It's like almost 2 opposite things where we should be celebrating both because they're both awesome courses.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah,
but they just don't
cool in their own right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now we're gonna do a history section. Should we take a break and take a sip of water before we get into this? Or?
Sure.
The history of Bethpage Black. I love 3 things more than life: golf, history, and sports betting. That's
the 3. That's the trifecta.
Well, I mean, obviously my wife and my daughter, but those are the 3 and the stock market. But those are my obsessions. And history and golf run together. I love learning about courses and how it came about. So we're going to jump right into it. I don't think I've seen a single pod that has talked about the history of Bethpage Black. And there was one YouTube documentary that put me to sleep first 3 seconds, like literally 30 seconds in. I'm like, this is
terrible. So we're redoing
it was like I like Ken Burns, but it was Ken Burns on steroids at how bad it was.
So we're giving the people.
Yeah, we're giving you some entertaining history here.
I like it. All right.
Okay. All right. 1912. Benjamin Franklin Yoakum, a wealthy railroad executive. Which, quick aside, Yoakum, he's the guy who bought this land. He was worked his way up through a corporate ladder in 1855. I didn't think that you could work. I thought we were like cowboys and Indians back then.
You didn't think we had a bunch of class.
No.
I there probably wasn't a lot of social class jumping, dude. This guy's probably
so he was
one hell of a guy.
So Yoakum worked as a surveyor. And then he went all the way up to be a president of Frisco Railroad, which I guess was a big railroad in Texas at the time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So literally, I mean, he hopped around industries, so he wasn't directly climbing, or hopped around companies, excuse me. So he wasn't directly climbing the corporate
I don't even
ladder.
think that was popular back then.
I'm looking at this guy's Wikipedia page. I'm like, wait, 1865? What are we talking about here? So anyways, Yoakum, wealthy man, goes to New York, and he purchases 1,300 acres of land, which is known as Old Bethpage, New York, which is adjacent to Farmingdale, which is where it is now. So Yoakum hired, I can't even say this first name. I'm not even going to attempt it. Devereaux. I know we got some...
Devereaux.
I know we got a Cajun thing going on there.
Sorry, call him whatever, Mr.
Devereaux, and his last name's Emmett. So Devereaux, Mr. Emmett, designed an 18-hole golf course on land which opened to play in 1923. He leased that land, so the golf course, to a private establishment, Lenox Hills Country Club. So he was doing all this, Yoakum was doing all this when he was in his 60s. So this was going down pretty late in life. It opened in 1923, like I just said. He passed away in 1929. So only
7 years to see his...
Right, so he sees it open.
Project.
So when he died, there's dispute over the land. So he was leasing some land to a subdivision. He had some of it for, obviously private use. And then he had that country club land. I'm not sure how this all went down. All my research wasn't really too clear on this, but I guess the Long Island State Park Commission got wind of this guy passing away, and
they took over.
They had big time interest in it. So then they purchased it in 1931. This dude who's a civilian of Farmingdale, I guess he's a historian. That was on the site, on Bethpage site. They said he was a historian. He convinced Robert Moses, which remember that name. He was the urban planner in New York and was the head of the State Park Commission for Long Island. He convinced them to name it Bethpage after, I guess, one of this Merritt's ancestors purchased it from Native American tribes. So that's how it got the name. All right. So the original golf course that was Lenox Hills Country Club is now the Green Course. And in 1936, they opened 3 more courses designed by my dude, A.W. Tillinghast.
Wow.
All right, so now we got to talk about A.W. Tillinghast. He's got to be a Mount Rushmore of architects. I think consensus Mount Rushmore of golf architects would be Mackenzie, Tillinghast, Ross, and Dye.
Yeah, those are the 4.
I think you could maybe replace Dye with
old Tom Morris,
because
of all the links courses that he built. But yeah, for the most part, and for American courses, Mackenzie, Tillinghast, Ross,
Dye, 1,000%. If you actually look at the list of when Mackenzie, Ross, and Tillinghast were going in,
dude, if you look at Mackenzie's list, it's incredible.
That's what I was just about to get to. Well, first off, Mackenzie's list is so long that it's the pure longevity. And just the total resume that he has is ridiculous. Mackenzie's top 3 is Augusta National, Cypress Point, Royal Melbourne. I don't think anyone's going to beat that, okay? But I will say Tillinghast has a pretty deep roster. Wingfoot, San Francisco Golf Club, Bethpage Black, Philly Cricket Club, Virginia Country Club, Barbasol, and Somerset Hills.
Yeah.
And then Quaker Ridge, Baltimore Golf Club.
There's a bunch of good ones in the Northeast that he did that don't get enough... not enough, but that don't get talked about just because they're private.
Yeah,
but they're great golf courses.
I mean, it's that's what I'm saying. I think Mackenzie and Tillinghast 1-2, not even close. I don't even think there's debate on that. So then, obviously Bethpage. So there's a little bit of controversy here
On the redesigns?
on did he design it?
Yeah.
How did you knew about it? We did not talk about this beforehand. You know what I'm about to say?
I don't know what you're about to say, but there's been, for anyone who knows Tillinghast designs, and if you don't, like, you can kind of just go look at some pictures, or if you haven't played them,
go watch a drone.
He was known for, or at the time had very undulating greens on multiple courses in the Northeast, and Bethpages are extremely flat.
Yeah.
And so some theories are that he designed basically only tee to green and not around the green. Is that what you saw?
I love that you're saying that. So there's a bit. Okay, the controversy is there's a claim that's one driving factor is that people look and say these greens aren't even close to what he's been doing.
He usually does.
Because that's another thing about Bethpage too, and we'll probably get into it later in the pod. It's like the greens are pretty pedestrian. They're not. It's not anything special.
Put a pin in that. We will be talking about that later.
All right. So, anyways, according to an article in Golf Digest written in 2009, they claim that the real designer was a man named Joe Burbeck. Now, Burbeck was an architectural engineer and built golf courses and was originally hired by Moses. Remember Moses? Long Island Park Commissioner to design a pitch and putt at a place called Jones Beach. I guess he did a good job or something. I don't know. Like Moses liked his work. So then they got cozy. Him and Moses, Burbeck and Moses got cozy. And his next job was managing Lenox Hills Country Club. This was before it turned into Bethpage Black. So Moses bought that land during the whole land dispute, which also, fun fact that I learned while doing this, like if you were managing a golf course, you like lived in the clubhouse.
Yeah, it was sick back then.
That's pretty sick. Like he moved his entire family.
You know how like the like Catholic priests, like they have a home next to the church?
Yeah.
That's like literally how golf courses were back
Right,
in the day.
because remember the PGA Tour this year, the Philly Cricket Club? Like they
had
like
the little house there.
Yeah.
Sick.
So anyways, yeah, I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So Moses buys Bethpage, the big wig. And then also, I don't know if I might get into it now. Like, all right, Moses was a crazy dude. Like this guy was like powerful New York guy. A fun fact about Moses, late in his career, he and the Brooklyn Dodgers had a big dispute about the new stadium, which is like, that happens literally today. It's funny, like,
yeah, that went down.
it's like, what, it's endless. It will always be an issue. Like
for
a new
decades.
stadium, we want, more money. So the Brooklyn Dodgers and Moses were in talks for a new stadium, and he was obsessed with putting it in Flushing's, Queens. Like that was like his main thing. He's like, I want to build this entire place in Flushing. Well, the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers was not for it. He was like, we have to be in Brooklyn. That's where our roots are, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah,
so,
we can't switch.
Honestly, he called Moses' bluff and was like, all right, we're out of here. So he was going behind Moses' back and talking to someone in LA, and they left, which is ironic because Moses was so hell-bent on making this thing that he actually made the stadium complex in Flushing before the Mets were an expansion team. Interesting. So
wait a second. So Moses owned the Dodgers?
No. He was the state commission.
Okay. So
urban planner, I guess.
So he was the guy who was like, tough shit, you guys aren't getting a stadium in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We're building in Flushings. And then the owners left to go to LA.
Yes. Which he was told that they would not leave Brooklyn if the deal wasn't getting.
That's a fun little tidbit in itself. I did not know that at all.
So this Moses guy was a Long Beach, or I keep saying Long Beach, Long Island park commissioner, and then he eventually worked up to urban planning of New York. So he was a big time dude. So I think he was the reason why. Like, isn't the U.S. Open in Flushing?
Yes.
Like, I think like all of it.
That complex. I was just there actually. The complex is you get off the 7 train, and the Met Stadium is to your left. That entire tennis complex is to your right.
I wonder when that was
super
built.
close.
Do you know when it was built?
I don't.
Because he built Flushing in the 60s, like early 60s. Or not Flushing. He built the Shea Stadium in the early 60s. So anyways, fun fact. So back to this. So Moses buys Bethpage, and he has this grand scheme. I guess he was like a big compound guy. he wanted to make like a bunch of golf courses. Obviously, he just bought all this land. So he hires Tillinghast for just $50 a day, which I guess back in, I don't know, like the 30s, you think, okay, that's not bad money, but that was pennies to what Tillinghast was making before this deal. Like he was making big bucks. He was, A-dub Tillinghast, dude. He was making money. So apparently Tillinghast fell into some bad investments and heavy drinking, quote unquote. That's literally what the quote was in the article.
Holy hell.
And they're implying that he just needed money. So they're like, all right, this guy needed money. So the guy who wrote the Golf Digest piece basically says that Tillinghast's role was limited and is suggesting that Moses only hired him to give the project credibility and appease the press. So that if he wasn't basically AW, like he needed his name, it was like he needed a name to push it through. So obviously there's a ton of people that dispute this, citing characteristics like what you said, T.D. Green. But the most logical rebuttal that I came across is a guy named Philip Young. He wrote a book on Bethpage. And he basically says there's zero shot that Burbeck could design this entire golf course, monitor hundreds of workers, operate the clubhouse, hold down his position as, I guess he was park superintendent as well, and just like all this stuff. And you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like it'd be a lot for him.
First timer.
Yeah, well, not technically not
pitch and putt, dude. First timer. Like that's 36 holes that you're monitoring. Like that's a lot to deal.
And I didn't know. I haven't looked. I don't know if he was like, if Burbeck that is was a credible designer or not before this. I'm assuming not. If he was designing the pitch and putt, but yeah. So that's like the main dispute. And then also to muddy the waters even more, in 1936, which you got to remember, this opened in 1937. A Golf Review Monthly. An editor and respected writer referred to Burbeck as the architect who designed and constructed 3 of Bethpage courses and renovated the 4th. Okay, so that's kind of like, all right, that's we're kind of bizarre that I guess that's probably a big time,
Yeah.
But then Tillinghast wrote in PGA Magazine that he considered himself fortunate to be selected as the consultant course architect, and then adding that he's never have I received heartier support and cooperation than from Joe Burbeck, the state engineer who was in daily direction of the entire work from start to finish.
Well, that's nice.
So it's basically like, I don't know. It's very unclear of what actually happened with the design of Bethpage. I think what you said is a great point. It's like, man, like if you actually if you actually like dive in and look at the architectural, I guess, fingerprints that the guy has, it is bizarre that his greens at Bethpage are so pedestrian. I don't know. Like, do you think back then they knew that this obviously was a state park, right? Do you think they knew that this was a municipal course and we want to make it a little bit easier?
So let's take a break because I want to dive into this as well because I want to answer your questions, but I also have some context to add to it. So there's a couple theories as to why the green complexes, why A.W. Tillinghast did this design, but also why the green complexes are so different. And they all come from small redesigns that the course did throughout the time that they didn't officially announce. Like that we're doing a complete renovation of the course. So it's like one of the theories is that it constantly went through changes and renovations that Tillinghast didn't have a hand in, so clearly they're different. Do you know why the sign, the famous warning sign, became there?
The double black diamond?
Yeah, it's an extremely difficult course.
That's what I'm saying. It's like double, it's like skiing.
I guess, yeah. Do you know why that is?
No, I don't, no.
So they did, or I think it was a redesign. It was either in the 50s or 60s. But in the beginning, that course wasn't played nearly as much as the other two. Like Bethpage Red, I believe, was the most played course. And Bethpage Black, the routing of the course, like it's a straight out, then you come in. It's very cool. I think the routing is what makes it one of the coolest, like one of the best Ryder Cup venues that we're gonna have for quite some time, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But my point is, it wasn't very popular with the New York crowd. Then it had a renovation of some sort in, I cannot remember. It might have been the 50s or 60s. I'm blanking on it, but maybe in the 70s. It was one of those time periods. It was not 80s or 90s, but within the 50s, 60s, 70s, it had a renovation, and it got like buzz essentially that, hey, this is like it's a new renovated course. It's going to be like it's the new like jewel of Bethpage, but it was also extremely hard. So they didn't want just hacks coming out there and playing and slowing groups down. And I think the first day it opened, there was like a pair or a foursome that it took like an astronomical amount of time. So they put the sign up there saying like, hey, like unless you're really good at golf, don't play this golf course.
Okay.
And that's how it came to be. But I say all this because I think that which could be a very possible theory as to like why it's not Tillinghast is like it was a muni, number one. Number two, constantly was going through changes that also weren't probably, broadcasted to everyone. And like if you go back and look, like East Lake's a great example. Like I think that the renovation culture of golf right now is over the top. Like I think we've gone too far. We need to swing back to the other side of the pendulum. But like if you look at the greens in like 2007 when Tiger won the FedEx Cup there, like they're completely different than what they are now. So like it's very possible that he designed it all and some stuff was changed.
Yeah, it was literally what? Almost 100 years ago.
Exactly. I mean, so I don't like. It's a good theory that he didn't do it, but if you actually like get into the nuts and bolts, like it would be extremely hard for somebody to do this that has never had any.
I mean, again, like the guy, like the best argument against it, it's like there's no way that guy could have managed all those people, done all that stuff, and then built a golf course that's a legendary golf course. But like that stood the test of time. So
exactly.
That's essentially like I just want to fast forward to 1998, put a pin in the history of Bethpage as it is. U.S. Open declares Bethpage as a future venue date. So the course has to get up to snuff, like you just said. We got to get the renovation guys in there. we
got to get the renos.
We got to get Reese Jones and the boys back in there. So Reese Jones heads up a renovation. They basically touch every hole, add new tees, redo bunkering, and completely change the green surface, like you said. Which obviously maybe Tillinghast, it's a good debate for why he did do it. And then I just want to say like. The bones of Bethpage, I think, is what gives it the mystique, not the greens. It's like, and you can see that on TV. Like the way that it like you just said, the routing, the land, it's just a really cool golf course from, like I just went back and watched, I saw a flyover and then watched some of the 2019 or 18 U.S. Open.
2019.
Regardless, and you have to think like U.S. Open.
2019.
U.S. Open's tricked out to where it's
2018 was Tiger's almost win at the PGA when Brooks Koepka won his first one. Okay. So 2019.
Anyways, I just want to say I think it's a great design, great routing. I walk back my hate that I had on it semi. I still think there's no way you would rather play national. There's no way you'd rather, if you had one opportunity to play a golf course, you'd rather play Bethpage Black over National Golf Links of America. No way. If you still believe that, you need to do some Googling. But I do think it is cool. It's the only muni. It will now be the only muni to host a major and the Ryder Cup. Straits has done so, but Straits is technically a resort course. So a true municipal course to host both. Bethpage will go down in the history books as the only one. And it's cool. It is like a staple of American golf, So that's all I have for the history section. I guess. Do you want to move on straight to Ryder Cup prep?
Yeah, and I was like I kind of did the same thing where I took a deep dive into actually like the routing and the golf course, and I think it's going to set up. I think maybe put aside like maybe Whistling Straits, but like. Out of all of the venues that have hosted the Ryder Cup in the last like 30, 40 years, like I might even go 40 years. Like I think this is going to be one of the best setup wise, like drama filled potential venues that we've had in so long because of just the way that it's routed. And I'll start off. There is a stat, the great Brandel Chambly shared this and I haven't seen it enough and I need to talk about it. So, if you win, do you know this? The
first hole one? The first hole? If you win the first hole?
Yeah, so if you win the first hole, you have a 60% chance of winning the match.
Okay.
If you win the first match at the Ryder Cup, in the history of the Ryder Cup.
The first match.
If you win
first guy out.
in the first match in the history of the Ryder Cup, it is a 68% predictor on who will win the Ryder Cup.
That's crazy.
68%. That's why Paul Azinger, that's why you hear all these other captains, like, it is so crucial to win the first session of that day, the morning session of the first day.
So the 68% is the first match of the first session?
Yes, but think about it. If you win the first match, your chances greatly increase of winning the first session. And if you win the first session, it is so crucial to win that first session. So I say all this because it's crazy the amount of pressure that you actually think about. Like, you don't think that the first hole of the Ryder Cup is that important. It's actually a huge fucking deal. Like, you need to set out and make a statement. And the way that the golf course starts, in my opinion, 2 through 6, you get all of that, like, Bethpagean feel of the golf course, and it's also some of the hardest but also most interesting holes on the course. But number 1 is that famous dog leg that you're looking down.
Rory's going to be driving the green.
And it's in 2019 and then in 2002, it had a birdie percentage and a bogey percentage that was near identical. So a lot of pars, but like a birdie bogey percentage. It wasn't one of those where it's like you either par or birdie. Like, it was either a lot of pars, but you could birdie it, but you could also bogey it, and you could also really fuck it up. So I think that is going to be so interesting to watch, is the first hole, but then also 2 through 6, you have another par 4, then you have that par 3, the par 5, par 4, and that long par 4 back to back. And it's like the par 5 in that group you can get after. The par 3 is the one that's kind of up the hill a little bit, but there's a huge fall off to the left, and that could be a huge swing hole. So I really think that you're going to see a lot of action and a lot of lead changes early from like holes 1 to 6. And then the closing holes, 16 is a beast. They're going to play that at 500 yards probably.
I'm happy that they, like, the one thing that gets, I don't want to say like maybe it is, the worst thing about Ryder Cup and match play, like, I love everything about match play. The worst thing is that you don't get to see 17 and 18 as much, because there's a lot of times where matches are closed out by then.
Right.
So it's like a lot of times when you have courses, I don't care who's designing it, if it's Mackenzie or, someone today, a lot of times you save your best stuff for the last, 2 holes. So it's like, it does suck that you don't get to see that quite as much in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, for the people who don't, I would hope you, actually, I'm not even going to say that. For the people who don't know this golf course well enough, there's no, like I said earlier, there's no, like, you play 9, then 9's back to the clubhouse, and then you play 10, which is near the clubhouse, and you go out and you come back and you're at the clubhouse. You're out, and then 9 green is technically the furthest place away from the clubhouse. So, like, you're out in, Bethpage State Park, like, you're out in the park, and you come back and you come across the road after 14. I believe you play 15, 16, 17, and 18 across the road. And some of those are the best finishing holes that you have. You have 2 par 4s that are going to play 480, 490.
Yeah.
The 16th I always think of is the famous in 2002 Tiger hit that 2-iron or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he did the famous club twirl. Like that stretch, and then you have a long par 3 on 17, and then 18's a great closing hole. So, like, that's a fun stretch of golf, but that's also a very volatile stretch of golf. Like, you can easily bogey 15, you can easily bogey 16.
Yeah.
If they keep, and this comes to another part of it's a good transition, is like, I am very curious as to how they're going to set up the golf course, because famously the United States, whenever they set up the Ryder Cups, it's they lower the rough, which they did Whistling. They lower the rough, and then they make the greens fast, because they think that we have a better advantage putting on fast greens. And so this year, like you said a couple weeks ago, we don't have bombers.
No.
We have guys who hit fairways, but we don't have bombers. No. So I'm wondering if they're going to maybe try to keep it that U.S. Open style that we had, or the PGA, U.S. Open and the PGA Championship style that we had in 2002 and 2019, because, lowering the rough for the most part isn't going to help us.
So I was kind of wondering where we were going to take this, and I'm glad we're taking it this way, because I have done research for betting on the Ryder Cup, and I was looking at metrics from our team and their team. First off, that the Bethpage scorecard right now is for the Ryder Cup is going to play 100 yards shorter than what it had officially for. I don't know if it's the official scorecard, if it was U.S. Open, but they've shortened it. The main reason why is that Europe, if you look at ranges from 170, I think it's 170 to 225, their proximity, out of their 12 guys, 6 are in the top proximity for that range, right? So long irons, they got good long iron player. It makes sense,
Rahm, McIlroy, Hovland,
yeah.
Aberg.
Yeah. Just think about
Patrick Hatton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Hatton is such a sleepy guy with the long iron. No one thinks he's a great long iron player. He's an elite long iron player. And then on the flip side, if you look at wedge, I'm just talking about this year too. There's, you can switch up the samples how you want, but this year
we're nasty with wedges.
We are disgusting with wedges. We out of the wedge proximity, I believe out of the 12 players, we have I think 7 inside the top 10 or top 15. One of the regardless of the number, down the list. We're very, very high. And I think that and also scoring. We have higher birdie or better percentages than those guys do. Those guys are better on grinding courses, apparently, than we are. So our birdie or better percentage is much, much higher. So I think they're going to set it up as a very, very scoreable course. Like this is not going to be the 2019 Bethpage or the 2002 Bethpage where it's like, you're hanging on for dear life. They're going to make this scoreable. And they really are. And it's because they need, the Americans want it to be not a birdie fest, but they want it to be easy. So I think what we're going to, people are going to expect this whole, like you said, the double black diamond sign of like, this is extremely hard, roughs up. I think it's going to be more scoring than people are used to. That's just my take of it.
I agree.
So
I 100% agree.
All right, before we go, who's your top scorer? You want me to pull it up?
My top scorer for the week.
Both teams. You don't have to go US or.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go chalk with the US. I think, and my reasoning is, I think Scotty is gonna play. I don't know if he's gonna play all sessions, but he may sit out just one. Like I think he's gonna. That's how much we're gonna lean on him. And then for the Europeans, I think it's gonna be a Victor Hovland course. I'll go. He's the top point getter for the Euros.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go chalk.
I think Euro Hovland is 12-1. Scotty is 3-1 for.
Yeah, see, that's just chalk. But I just think he's going to play the most. Like if you just look at it logically,
I'm semi chalk, but I'm gonna go DeChambeau at 9-1 because I think like what you said. I think DeChambeau's gonna play a ton. When you look at this market, you got to look at all about volume. Who's going out there the most? I think outside of Scotty, would you not say DeChambeau's going out the most?
Yeah.
I mean, just when you go down the board afterwards, it's like DeChambeau, and this is just the Americans. DeChambeau, Xander, who's had a bad year. Cantlay. Maybe Cam Young, Russell, and then
Cantley's not a bad pick just because I think he'll play a lot as well. It's the thing I don't know about is like JT's not in good form at all. He played terrible at the Pro Tour. Ben Griffin's a rookie. Cam Young's a rookie.
Right.
Like how are you really going to throw those guys 4 sessions? Like that's a lot. 5 sessions. That's a lot. Like that's I don't think they're going to do that. So yeah, that's why I went chalk with that.
I think top debutant Cam Young 3-1. It's home course. New York guy. That's an easy one. I think that's a pretty easy one.
And he's going to be playing with DeChambeau. It's like been leaked basically, like because he plays the closest type ball to DeChambeau.
Did you see? I posted that on our story. I actually thought that was very interesting by Luke Donald. What he said is that the ball actually matters.
Oh yeah,
because
big time, especially for him too. It's like he plays such a different game than 99% of pros, let alone golfers. So it's like he's gonna.
We'll leave everyone with a fun question. Does Ben Griffin bend the knee and go with a nice golf ball, or does his teammate play with a max fly?
Team max fly.
It's like that's going to be the funniest thing ever if he makes his teammate go with a max fly.
You know those max fly execs are just hoping so
Oh
bad.
yeah, that'd be so good. It'd
we
be like
get credibility.
I can't believe that'd be insane. Like the fact he plays a max fly is just
shout out
Max Fly.
All right, that was fun. We probably will be doing stuff on our socials during the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So tune in for that. Thank you guys for listening.
And then maybe
our first official pod. We'll explain who we are and like go in detail later. But this was just a fun, super fun thing to do, especially with like not a lot of this information out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Bethpage,
yeah.
So
we hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you guys soon.